hey Dad, let's pretend you're dead.
Yep. Can you give me like half your assets now so I can go spend it all?
Well, hello. It's the fabulous Lexi and the wonderful Sierra, and we are here talking about one of the most famous passages in all of the Bible, which is the Prodigal Son. A reading from Luke chapter 15. Now all the tax collectors and sinners were coming near to listen to Jesus. And the Pharisees and the scribes were grumbling and saying, "This fellow welcomes sinners and eats with them."
So he had told them this parable. There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger of them said to his father, "Father, give me the share of the property that will belong to me." So he divided his property between them. A few days later, the younger son gathered all he had and traveled to a distant country, and there he squandered his property in dissolute living. When he had spent everything, a severe famine took place throughout that country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed the pigs. He would gladly have filled himself with the pods that the pigs were eating, and no one gave him anything. But when he came to himself, he said, "How many of my father's hired hands have bread enough to spare? But here I am dying of hunger. I will get up and go to my father, and I will say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me like one of your hired hands.' So he set off and went to his father. But while he was still far off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion. He ran and put his arms around him and kissed him. Then the son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son.'"
But the father said to his slaves, "Quickly, bring out a robe, the best one, and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet, and get the fatted calf and kill it, and let us eat and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." And they began to celebrate.
Now his elder son was in the field, and when he came and approached the house, he heard music and dancing. He called one of the slaves and asked, "What is going on?" He replied, "Your brother has come, and your father has killed the fatted calf, because he has got him back safe and sound." Then he became angry and refused to go in. His father came out and begged to plead with him, but he answered his father, "Listen, for all these years I have been working like a slave for you, and I have never disobeyed your command. Yet you have never given me even a young goat so that I might celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours came back, who has devoured your property with prostitutes, you killed the fatted calf for him." Then the father said to him, "Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. But we had to celebrate and rejoice because this brother of yours was dead and has come to life. He was lost and has been found."
First of all, having just read this and having gone through it, what strikes you in this? What's the first thing that jumps out at you from this story?
That the father actually gave him the inheritance before he died.
Yeah.
He was just like, "You know what? Sure, have fun." Yeah. And then it was just like, "See ya."
Yeah.
For a fact, my parents would not. They'd be like, no.
It is
Nice try.
a little bit of a cheeky request.
Yeah.
Like, "Hey Dad, let's pretend you're dead."
Yep.
Can I
Give me like half your assets now so I can go spend it all.
Do you think you could get away with that?
Oh, heck no. I tried once, okay? Let's be honest. I was like, "Hey, so there's something I've been looking for a few years, you know. How about I just get some of that inheritance now?"
They did not go over
No, they made me make a presentation about it. Of why I should have that inheritance early.
Oh, that's
I
amazing.
didn't win, but at least I
Worth a
have
shot.
it, you know.
well. You have the PowerPoint to fall
Why
back
I
on.
should get early inheritance.
I
need
can't
to
believe
see this
I can't believe
PowerPoint.
we have a real life story here, but that is funny.
I was
PowerPoint.
6. I need
You
this
were
PowerPoint.
sick.
I don't think I have it.
Well, I would love to see this. Yeah, the 6-year-old wife. Well, this dude gets it, right? Goes off and blows it. That's the other thing, like astonishing, like wisdom of 3, right? Like not, okay, you don't have a business plan, you don't have anything. He just literally goes off as like parties with it and then ends up working in a pigsty, which A, menial labor, like even worse than like Wendy's, and B, also personal experience, right? And B, like would have been considered terribly unclean by traditional Jewish standards, right? Because they didn't eat pork; they weren't supposed to, associate with pigs and stuff like that. So now he's literally doing the heretic thing in menial labor in a terrible, smelly place, right? Although pigs are cleaner than you think, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And he sits there and he's going like, "Dang, what has my life come to?" I know I've been there. Not exactly in the pigsty, literally. But.
Not in a pigsty, but definitely have had that moment where it's like, what am I doing with my life?
Where do you want to go from here?
Oh, yeah.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
Being a senior in high school makes you really be like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life?
Especially when it gets closer to the end of the year and you're like, okay, you got to start applying for colleges. You got to make sure all your grades are up. Because at this point, if a senior fails one class, you have to take your whole senior year again, or you have to do summer school. So that's a lot of pressure on that, making sure you get your courses correct. You're growing up to be an adult. I know I'm 18, so I already have, to start figuring all that out. And it's like, you get to realize, you're like, okay, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Next steps to get to the next.
Yeah. And, I had gone through that. At least I think it was a little bit more clear cut when I went through because there was a definite channel you went down. But at 20 is when my depression really hit. So I'd been in college for like a year and a half, and then it all fell off the rails, right? I dropped out of college and stuff. So it's weird feeling like, what are you going to do in the unknown in front of you? But what if you get out into the unknown like this dude and it ends up being a pigsty? I mean, depression, sitting around, I remember literally swinging on park swings at 3 o'clock in the morning in bad neighborhoods of Portland where I live, because that was the only thing I could do to make myself even feel halfway better in the dark on swings. And it's like, what do I do? And if you're it's 3 a.m. on playground swings, you don't have a good answer to that question, right? Nope. But then, the cool thing about this is he comes back. He gets his comeback story. But it's not going back the way it was exactly. It's literally relationship that brings him back. Right? Have you guys ever had that? That's happened to me too. Okay, I got nothing, but I got one friend or I got one something that. Oh, you hear each other?
Yeah. This is my person?
Yeah.
Say more. Where have you
So,
experienced
I've known this one since 2nd grade, and when I was seniors in high school, so that's about 10 years.
10 years.
Whew. And just anytime something bad has happened or something amazing has happened, the first person I always want to tell is this one. She's the person I go to for everything. Any piece of advice. She is always there for me, and I try to always be there for her, and I hope she feels the same way.
I do. And I have a lot of same feelings towards that. If I just got my prom dress, and so she was literally the first person to know about my prom dress. I go, hey, do you like it? What do you think? And it's she's the main person I go to for relationship advice, even though she comes to me for that, and
we'll both fail at it.
In the car and just ramble, and we're like, did this go anywhere?
No.
But it does sometimes. But it's you always. I went through depression at a really young age, in 6th grade, and it was, my parents didn't even realize it. And she was the only one that actually keyed on and made me feel like I was enough to stay on this earth. To be all honest. And that was a whole realization of feeling the depression and being alone and not wanting to know what you want to do with your life. Even though I'm in 6th grade, I still had a relationship that I still could bounce off with, even though during the summer we weren't close, we won't do anything, but it's I always knew she was in my corner.
It's Martin Luther, who Lutheranism is named after, made a big deal of this, saying the father, the owner of the land, came running to his son, right, and embraced him. And that one relationship like redeemed everything. And still we say, our relationship with God, none of us is God, none of us can be perfect for each other. So it's still that relationship with God that's the fountain of all this love. But we don't realize what you just said, how just being that one person for somebody, or being a person, even just a friend to somebody, can be like this redemption story, that it renews and restores a lot of stuff that we don't even realize.
I feel for the oldest son, where his brother was given the half of his inheritance, and then just went off and spent it all while he worked for what he had. And then his brother coming back, and then his dad being like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, I understand where he's coming from, but it's also like, your brother lost everything, and now he's not wanting to come back and start where he left off. He wants to work his way up, which he had to learn through his hardships and those life lessons, that it's not always going to be easy. That even though he learned that, he has to work for what he needs, his brother didn't, and he had to learn that. And I feel like we all have to go through either something similar, where either we know what we need to do, or we have to hit rock bottom before we realize how to start that good foundation up again to get to that spot that we need to be.
Sometimes when things are taken away, that's the beginning of the restoration. Not that we hope that happens, but it can be and does. And often when we think we have things, like the older brother, we get fixated on those things, right? It's pretty person syndrome. Like, like in high school, and I'm overgeneralizing here, right? But it has been, I've seen it among my own classmates, and I think every generation gets it. The people who have it best in high school and get to hold on to, I have great looks, I'm the football star, I'm the cheerleader, whatever. By the time they hit 30 and 35, it hasn't changed for them, except it's gone, because you're no longer the football star. You're working in the grain silo, or you're the general manager at Wendy's, or whatever the heck it is, right? And everything important in your life is back 12, 15 years ago, and you feel kind of lost. Whereas the people who kind of never had that or lost it and have to work their way through all this tend to keep growing and working their way through. So, I mean, there is some wisdom to that, I think. That not every loss, even though it's hard, is the end of things, right? Sometimes losses are the beginning. Awesome. Well, you guys are cool. And thanks for helping us interpret this. And I think both of you are going to come back again, right? Maybe with some other people to do a series on relationships and stuff like that, right? So we'll see you again soon.